It's a chat.
Welcome, Kate Walsh. I hope this works. Does it work?
I
Ah!
look insane. I just want to be really clear. I just woke up. You can see all the
Yeah.
roots.
Oh, come on.
It's like the myriad. It's really bad. I didn't realize it was this bad. Hold on. I should
You
find
look
better lighting.
fantastic. What are you talking
I look
about?
like a
Please.
full-blown lunatic.
No, you do
I did,
not. Stop
but I
it.
did pop on some mascara. But I do need my readers now. Oh, hi. Hi. I
How
look
are
like a
you?
psycho. You
Yes,
look gorgeous,
sir.
per usual.
Well, it's 8 p.m. and I like decided to put mascara on and earrings,
You
and
have earrings.
I
Oh, you're
can
winning.
you
I don't even
believe
have
it?
earrings. I
Oh,
have
I
two
was like,
necklaces, but no earrings.
no, but see, that's good. I put the earrings on for you. I was like, I'm gonna put on earrings for Kate today.
Oh my God. And I've got full on beach hair. This
It's
is like my
so
ski
gorgeous.
hack. Anyway, let's stop talking about how I
I
look.
love
How
it.
are you?
I love it. I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you doing? Are
We'll
you
have to
hanging
take
it? Are
this off.
you are you
I
hanging in
mean,
there?
I'm fully insane, but
Yeah.
good. No, I'm blessed. I'm healthy,
Yeah.
happy. I have love in my life. I'm good. All my loved ones are looked after and taken care of. I think I told you, my dear assistant. Is this even better? There, that's
You
better.
look amazing. Stop it.
Um, my fantastic, work husband assistant of nearly a decade just got
Right.
out of the hospital and is
Oh,
home, so
oh
that's
my
good.
God. And he's
Yeah,
he's
if
he's
anybody's,
fine.
if
Was
any,
he sick?
he's now he is, but he's recovering slowly, but he's
Oof.
so strong and amazing. He had major COVID. He got COVID and then got ill, and then things were really dire and very very serious. And he's a healthy,
Mm.
strapping 37-year-old male.
Oh
Male.
my.
I feel like I'm pitching him, but anyway, thank God he's okay now. But if anybody questions social distancing or the necessity for it, or flattening the curve, or thinks that at
Right.
this time in the game that only older people can get it, and people who have pre-existing conditions or are vulnerable, that's
Right.
incorrect.
It
He's
is
a very
incorrect.
healthy guy who just got slammed and nearly died and turned it around. So we're very, very, but
That's
but
really
so
scary.
yeah, it's as crazy and hard as it is. I say keep going, people.
Yeah, I mean, we've been inside now for a month. We have been in this apartment. We're in New York City, right? So we're in Manhattan and it's like, the epicenter of crazy here. And we've been inside. I have not been outside except for to throw the trash out. And I live with my mom and my little 10-year-old, and it's like crazy.
Oh God, it's nuts. We're having
Yeah,
like the old school, if intergenerational, everyone's living together, and it's so hard in New York. And I do feel like I betrayed my country during wartime. I'm in Western Australia, as you know, but I was here visiting friends, and then everything went down. I got here
right,
right before the whole
right.
mandatory isolation and distancing, or cocooning, as some people call it. I think that's a more
Yeah.
positive term, but it's hard to cocoon with your parents. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, who nobody wants that, truly, 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 truly. Oh man, I know. Well, and what you were saying too about everybody having to stay in, it's like just stay in. I have so many friends, I have to say, that have been sick. So many, and I've been
Yeah,
very happy
right?
that they're all okay, but we've definitely had some family friends who have passed, and
Oh, I'm so sorry.
it's been a shock. It's been a real shock, a real shock. A
Yeah.
friend of mine lost his father and his uncle within a week of each other.
No, it's
Here in New
crazy.
York, it's just
It's really crazy. And it's also, and I know in New York, it's so hard. Now it's spring. It's beautiful, right? It's
hmm
getting beautiful. And it's like, I have to, every day, I have to stop my thoughts and go,
right.
because I get sad about, I'm like, but the New York how will it be now? How's it going to be? Going to move forward? What will it look like? Because the New York
Yeah.
that I know and love, we can't have that right now. And it's like,
No, it's completely different, absolutely different. And for all of us that are in the performing arts and all the
oh,
different factions of it, I mean, it's completely obliterated, right? It's just gone, and everybody's scrambling to figure out what to do next and how to make it survive and what do we do when we come back. And I mean, I know of us, certainly, the classical music world, I mean, we've just shocked, totally
Yeah, I don't
shocked.
know. I do believe that we'll get back to something, or get to something. I don't know, back, if that's to a place of like a new, whatever the new normal will be.
Right.
Um, but I don't know. Yeah, I wonder for the arts. I mean, the same with mine. I can't imagine anybody. Well, both talking about opening Broadway right on June 7th or something. But I don't know if that's still the case. I had heard that. That's the other thing. You're
Yeah.
like hearing all these things. You're like, wait, is that going
Well,
to happen?
right.
I don't
Right.
know.
And that date keeps on moving around, and it's so dependent, right, on just how everything is going, you know. But
Yeah, yeah.
all of that considered, I think there was somebody did ask the right question where they're like, "How do you guys know each other?" And so
Oh,
I was gonna say to everybody watching, so for those who don't know me, because most people watching know you and don't know me, I'm an opera singer, and so and Kate is an opera
An
fan.
amazing opera singer. I'm a big opera fan. And I'm
And
fortunate enough,
yeah.
before COVID, I would go to the Met regularly. And I got to see you. What was the opera that I saw you in? When I
It's funny.
first
I
saw
was
you, the
thinking about
nuns.
it. Wasn't it Carmelites? Was it Dialogue of the Carmelites, or was it
It was the
Marnie? I can't.
Carmelites.
It was
Yeah, it was
Carmelites, right?
Carmelites. Yeah,
I actually had to
I
think about it
think.
today. I was like, which one was it? I don't remember. But it was Carmelites, not particularly, you know, happy story.
I
Um,
remember it because it's incredible, and it was a stark contrast because it was right in the
mhm.
middle of the ring cycle that I was going to.
Oh my
And
God.
so I
I'm
was like, and
impressed.
for a
Anybody that
little,
goes to see Ring Cycle, like, what?
that was incredible. I remember I went with Ruben Singer, who's a dress designer, who is like,
Yeah.
we've
I love
always known
Ruben.
each other just working together. But
Hmm.
he's like, well, here's the way we can really deepen our friendship. Want to go to see the ring cycle with me? 5 nights, 4 nights of opera, 4 or 5 hours a night. He's like, we'll either hate each other or love each other. And we love each other. But yeah, but
That's perfect.
I think you were was the ring cycle 4 nights? But you were our break, the
I was the
Carmelites. Yeah.
oh my God. Can you imagine?
They're
It's
like,
like
let's
going
take a
from like
break with some heavy torturing of
no,
nuns.
seriously, with some crying and some terrible, French Revolution and guillotines and all the good
Oh,
stuff that
but
opera.
you are so beautiful. I must say to anybody who doesn't know Isabel, she's like not only a beautiful woman inside and out, I must say, but an incredible, incredible opera singer. Incredible. So is it
Oh, well,
soprano? Are you soprano or mezzo
thank you.
soprano?
To be totally honest, I love to like not label myself. I generally sing sort of like the mezzo rep, but I kind of sing whatever fits, honestly. Like the
Yeah,
role I did in Carmelites is actually a soprano role.
yeah, that's what I was like.
So
I think that was soprano. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's fun. So okay, cool. So I'm gonna ask like all the kind of silly questions that I actually want to know. I
Okay,
want to know
cool, cool.
answers too. I kind of wanted to start from the beginning just because I'm always so curious about how people got to where they are. And so my
Yeah,
biggest question, for me always, and again, it's like I just love to know people's journey and their process and how it all happened. So for you, basically with acting and all the amazing things you do, and obviously all the other things you're involved with, like how did that all start with you? Like when did you start acting? Kind of what did your path look like and some
yeah.
highlights along the way, things like that.
Well, I started doing it as a kid in elementary school. The first play I ever did was Wizard of Oz. I played Glinda the Good Witch.
Of course
And it
you
was
did.
like, huh?
Of course you did. That's so perfect. Oh.
And it was incredible. I loved it. I mean, I started watching old movies with my mom when I was little. We'd watch these black and white movies. There used to be a thing called $1 Million Movie. We'd watch them together. And I was obsessed. I had crushes on all these dead movie stars. It was like Clark Gable and Tyrone Power and Montgomery Clift.
Mm,
And then, of course, I wanted to be Greta Garbo and Joan Crawford and Maura Tierney and all these. So I was in this. That was like my real beginning kind of
right.
fantasy world when. And I'm talking like when I was 4, 5, 6, that kind of thing. So I was always really obsessed with film, and then theater was like, oh, well, that's what you do. So I was in plays, I did community theater, And then I even got a subscription to the Saratoga Playhouse in California. My grandmother got me that, like to there. It was like a repertory theater company. So I would go and see plays. It was that was when I was in fourth grade. I felt very sophisticated to be able to be a theater
Yeah.
goer, a season
Yeah.
ticket holder.
Very nice.
But it was like, that was always a big part of my life, theater particularly. And then, and I continued in high school. Then I was in college. I tried to be practical and was an English major, like,
Right.
because that's so practical.
Lots of job options.
Like, yeah. I was like, well, I tried. My mother's, she was like, do something practical, get a degree in computers. This was her sort of wish. But anyway, and then I ended up dropping out because, well, I was actually a general studies major, which was like, you got to do 3, which was like, I had English, Italian, and art history. What are you going to do with that? That was just like that. Those are the things that interested me. And then I was like, I didn't like the theater department at the time where I was going to school. So I dropped out. And there was this amazing woman that came from Northwestern University outside of Chicago, which has a famously strong theater department. It's like David Schwimmer, all these people went there. And this woman, Meg Nolan, came and started this theater in Tucson called AKA Theater. And it was this little black box theater, and I had a waitressing job next door, and I did every play. And she was amazing. She actually was incredible. So we did David Rabe, we did Sam Shepard, we did all sorts of things. It was so incredible. And then I auditioned for like the Midwestern Theater Conference, the big cattle call auditions, like in Webster. At Webster, I remember it was a huge deal for me. Like, little girl, like small town girl makes good. I saved up my money, flew to applied for this conference, flew to Webster College, was it St. Louis, I think, Missouri, and stayed at this, stayed at B&B and did my 2 contrasting monologues by contemporary and classical.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're cattle called, and you just go after and see. And I got 2 offers. One was from Busch Gardens, Florida, which is like a theme park where you sing and dance and dress up. And it paid a lot of money, but I was like, that just doesn't feel like me. And the other one was for the Festival of Southern Theater, which was in Oxford, Mississippi, which was incredible. It's all new plays, it was all new playwrights and or established playwrights, but new plays in rep. So I went there, and that's where it was Faulkner's hometown. It was like Ole Miss.
Oh my God.
It was an incredible experience. And then I moved to Chicago.
I love Chicago.
Yeah, the Chicago is where I really cut my teeth. I got my equity card there. I'm rambling. I'm going to wrap this up, but
no,
that's where it all started.
I love it. It's so great. I mean, I think it's like we forget, just how varied everybody's path is, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
you went to Chicago and
did a bunch of theater there. Studied at the Piven Theater Workshop, which is an incredible theater workshop in Evanston, right out one of the first suburbs right outside of Chicago, where Northwestern is as well, and became very close with the Piven family. Byrne Piven, who along with his wife Joyce, who had started the workshop, and they came out of the whole theater games and Poland and Paul Sills and all that. So some people went to the Second City route. I did a little bit of Second City and comedy improv at Annoyance Theater and Improv Olympic in Chicago. And then, so I did both comedy and straight theater, and then got my first equity role there, and then did my first little role in a film, and then I moved to New York. Did more TV and film, and then some theater, a lot of improv in New York. I did more avant-garde theater in New York, like ontological theater. Richard Foreman, that was my jam. I was more interested in that. And then I started going to LA because I kept getting work in TV shows and Drew Carey, and then of course Grey's happened years later. Everyone's like, yo, Grey's. I was like, well, I was actually working for a long time before Grey's, but
I can only imagine, I can only imagine what it's like, when you're working and you're doing so many amazing things, and then there's this one project, that comes along, and of course that's the thing that everybody knows you for, most people, right? But you're like, but I'm so much more than that. Leave me alone.
I know.
There's so much more, and I think that's just that's why I love knowing kind of how people get to where they are. What about what's coming up for you? I know that you have a movie with Liam Neeson kind of coming out.
Oh, yeah, I do. I'm so
I
excited about it. I
love
haven't even
Liam
seen it
Neeson.
yet. He's seen
Ah,
it. The director's seen it.
yeah.
We were supposed to have seen it before all this went down in LA, a screening, but
Okay.
I think it's really good. It's Liam, myself, written and directed by this great guy, Mark Williams, who was one of the producers, co-creators of Ozark.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And
Good.
also Jai Courtney's in it, and Anthony Ramos is in it, and
Wow.
it's a great sort of action but love story, and I'm excited. I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't
Ah,
know. We're supposed to have be released in September, like the beginning, or like right before Labor Day. But I don't
right.
know what's going to happen. I don't know if theaters will be. I don't. I just don't know if
Right.
people are going to be walking to theaters or what. But
Sure,
of
sure,
course,
sure.
that
Hmm.
brings up. But wait, before we move on to that, you have to tell me how I need to know your background a little bit because I
Oh,
want people who are watching this to know where
mine.
you come from.
Oh man. Well, okay, 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 fine. Did not need to talk about myself at all. But I'll do it as brief as I can as well. I basically started, singing and dancing when I was a little girl, and I went to the Joffrey Ballet School, and I danced ballet for a bunch of years, and then I
So
decided I
you're from
wanted
New York.
to.
Are you
I'm
from New
from New
York
York.
then?
I'm from
Okay.
Manhattan. Yes, I am a Manhattanite through and through. I know exactly.
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
Exactly, I get it. And
I'm so
I'm
obsessed
let's
with
see,
how
well,
crazy it
my
is.
mom is from Argentina, and we have to talk about South America too, but because I know there's like a love, right, for that.
Oh my God. Argentina. I love you. I love.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Carry on.
we'll do this. And then so my mom's from Buenos Aires, and so I'm very close to my family down there. My dad was like German Irish. He's no longer with us, but he
Okay.
was like a tall redhead. So I got like this
But
mix in
was he
between.
down there too? Did they meet in Buenos Aires?
No, they met here.
Okay.
My mom moved here in the 60s when the universities closed, and she finished her degree, her doctorate in physics of all things. Crazy. So anyway, but I did singing and dancing and all this stuff, and I said, oh well, I want to go to LaGuardia High School because I want to sing. And I auditioned and I got in, so I went to LaGuardia. And then after that, it kept on being like, am I good enough to do the next step, the next step? And I had a great fortune of having a couple different little things happen. Like I met my choral teacher that I had had at the time where I was going to acquire at MSM was connected to this person, this person, this person. And then I did my audition for Juilliard, and I got into Juilliard, and then I did my undergrad and my master's there, for obviously for opera performance, classical singing. And then I was really, really lucky because within in the opera world and in the classical singing world, you really don't kind of mature vocally until you're well into your 30s. So anybody who comes out of school in their masters and they're like 22, 23, they're looking at years ahead of either young artist programs, like apprenticeship programs, in which they have to keep on developing in order to then be able to feel like they're ready to have a career. I got extremely lucky. I went to a summer festival called Music Academy of the West out in Santa Barbara that's run by Marilyn Horn. And at that summer, I won a competition that summer that they had. And through that, I ended up meeting my manager. And and the following December, I think it was, I was supposed to do a recital as like the prize for winning this competition. And I did this recital over at St. Bartholomew's Church on the East Side here in Manhattan under the auspices of the Wings of Song, which is her foundation. And Matthew, who was now my manager, Matthew Epstein, he then told me at the end of the recital that he had invited Peter Gelb to the recital, who is the general manager of the Metropolitan Opera. Right.
Peter Gelb is the general
Peter,
manager of the Met Opera.
exactly. And he told me at the end of the
Stimulated. That
recital,
was.
yeah,
Can
right?
you imagine the nerves?
No, and I was like 22, 3. I was, you know, so he told me after that. And then after that, Peter hired me for my debut at the Met. I was like 24 or 25 for Stefano and Romeo and Juliet. And I've been working there ever since for the last like 15, 16 seasons, something like that. So I got really lucky in all the rep that I could perform. I was able to then, travel and do that repertoire because it wasn't like the super gigantic prima donna
Right.
parts. It was call it like be like the supporting actress parts, right?
Right.
And I was able to do that, and I was able to start working at 24, which was young. And so now that I'm something years old, like, I'm kind of at that place where you're going, oh my God, I am, there's already been so much, and yet there's still so much to do, and then you meet great people along the way, and so
Huh.
it's been fascinating. It's been fascinating, and I've noticed, of course, like at least for me, that there's just so much more. For me, there's so much more than just the opera world and the classical music world, which is why like I love talking to people like you, and I love like all my musical theater folks and the instrumentalists that I know and the actors, and it's just I think it's just like the world is so there's so much to it. So anyway, that's me in
I
a little
agree. Here's my
nutshell.
other question though. When
Wait
you were
a
at
second.
what? Okay, hold on. I just have to. I know I'm interviewing you. I've turned the tables. But when you were at LaGuardia, when did you know that you wanted to do like when did you know that opera was going to be the thing? Like because you said you were singing and dancing always. Or
Yeah.
what age did you know you're like, no, I think opera is where I want to go?
So I don't think I ever made that choice. I think it sort of happened. And I think I still sometimes to this day, in a joking fashion, say, I don't know, I'm still making that choice.
Yeah.
Um, I think, so when I applied for Juilliard, I had also applied for NYU for Cap 21 for their musical theater program. And
Okay.
I had gotten into both places. So I spent a day in each school. And I just got to know the students, and it just happened. I think that the day I spent at Juilliard, for whatever reason, felt better that day. Maybe because I don't know, maybe the students that I met were just more friendly that day than they were down at NYU. And
Isn't it funny? Just
you
like the
know,
random alchemy of like, well, I don't know,
yeah,
maybe like the barometric pressure was right that day, and I had a
yeah,
couple of nice people. I'm like, I guess I'm gonna go to opera.
exactly, exactly. And so I thought, I mean, obviously it didn't help. It didn't not help to have Juilliard, as a name, And I thought, well, listen, okay, if I go to Juilliard, I'm going to learn how to sing. And my goal was whether I wanted to do musical theater or whatever it was that I wanted to do on stage, I wanted to be able to sing well, and I wanted to learn, I wanted to have that technique. And then I said, well, then I can always choose later. But of course, you get into it. You know how it is. You get into it and it
Totally.
kind of like snowballs. But even now, like over the last few years, I've been able to do West Side Story with Yannick down in Philadelphia, and I did a kind of semi-staged on the town out in San Francisco with the
Oh,
symphony, and
fantastic. That's the
um,
thing is you can
yeah,
do more now. I feel like your
yeah,
generation there and it's like an exciting thing because you can do so many more. Like you don't have to go, I'm specifically and intrinsically only an opera singer. But I do, and then I'll let you ask me questions. Like, ask me questions. But I will say
that's okay.
that I am interested because opera to me, my mother's Italian American, she's like second generation, I think, Italian.
Right,
And she's the one who turned me on to opera. She would
right.
play it around the house when I was little, and I was like, ugh. And then my grandfather, and I was like,
That was my
what is
reaction too,
this?
by the way. I was like,
Yeah.
turn it off. Why are they
When you're little, you're like, this is scary.
yelling?
But my grandfather, my Italian grandfather, sang light opera, and he was in the original production of Damn Yankees on Broadway. He just had a
Oh my
supporting
God.
role, but so he was a singer and actor and dancer when he was young. So, but at any rate, I think it's such an incredible art form, I'm always interested in turning more generations onto it and younger generations and it's changing and even the ring cycle and even, I mean, it's
Yeah.
such an incredible, and I think that it goes to what's happening now too in the time of COVID, doing so much digitally. We're doing this interview. I've been doing a lot of stuff online. Everything has to be online right now.
Right.
But the question of live performance is so critical, and I know a lot of my fans have never really gotten to see me work live, or maybe they've never got to see you work, and it's just different, and it's so much
Yeah.
more powerful and profound than just seeing film or television, or just seeing, if you see your favorite band live, it's just a different
It's
experience.
so
And if
different.
you're if you're an art lover, it's the difference between seeing something in a book or on a slide in college as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to being in the museum right in front of the piece, and the
Mm-hmm.
power and the energy that comes from that. But particularly with performance, whether it's singing
Yeah.
or acting or all of it or dance, it's like it changes your physical makeup, your
It
actual
does.
DNA. I believe that. So anyway,
I,
it's so
that's
good.
amazing because I believe that. I believe that too. And I believe music is a carrier for that kind of change. And I've always
Yeah.
believed it. You know, I believe that when you listen to those incredible chords, you know, like in Mozart or in any of those operas,
Yes,
these amazing sounds, especially when it's live and all that vibration is coming at you from the orchestra, your body changes. You
it
really
does.
you feel something else. You know, yeah,
That's why
it's
they say for
yeah,
pregnant women to have a baby Mozart
yeah,
or listen to classical music. It's like,
yeah,
it's just good for everything. So,
yeah.
yay.
Yay for the
Um,
opera.
yay.
Actually,
Okay,
you know
so,
what? Speaking of this will be my last opera plug. Next Thursday on the 30th, I don't know whether you saw Marnie or not, but next Thursday, the Met is going to stream live on their website Marnie, which was a new
oh,
opera that was written by Nico Muhly for me, and we performed it at the Met last season. And
oh, I
it's
didn't see
based
that.
on, yeah, it's based on the novel that Hitchcock wrote his
Right.
movie Marnie
Yeah.
on. So yeah, so if anybody's interested, that's a really interesting
You've got
opera.
to
It's
DM me and give me the
modern.
information again,
Okay,
and I'll
I'll do
post
that.
about it because I really, that's, it's delightful. And I will
I'll do
say
that.
that even growing up then, after I got over my distaste for opera when I was little, it is an acquired
Yeah,
taste.
it is.
It takes development to, I think, not always, but I think, but that was one of the things I looked forward to the most was the Met on, was it Saturday afternoons, live from the
Hmm.
Met.
Yep, the live
Even when I
broadcast.
lived
Yeah.
in San Jose, California, or in Tucson, Arizona, or wherever I was, we could always get live from the Met, and that, oh, it's such
Yeah.
a special thing. So I
Oh,
will definitely tune into that. All right, so tell me,
I'm so glad that you love it. That's awesome.
I do. Um, can I make a plug?
Yeah,
Here's
I was
something
gonna.
that's really
Yeah.
cool. My voice, I'm a little worried about my voice. Well, I'm doing a couple
Oh,
things. Speaking of New York performances,
yeah.
we're doing, have you heard of Play Preview? Have you
No.
heard of this thing? So they're doing
No.
like live, basically staged readings of different plays
Okay.
with actors. Excuse me. And the proceeds go to charities that are
Mm-hmm.
all about, I think, theater and Broadway and people that are not able to work right now. So but
Right.
basically you log on, you pay. It's like going to an evening of theater, but it's online.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
called Play Per View. And I do Shar White's play called The Other Place, which was done by Laurie Metcalf on Broadway. I mean, which by
Mm-hmm.
the way, I'm like, there's no one like Laurie. She's incredible, but I get to play the role. It's a beautiful piece. I'm doing that. It's this coming Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern
Ooh.
Standard Time. So that will be for me 7 a.m. It'll be like exciting for me to get up and act. But but
Like,
that I'm
great.
really
It's gonna be
excited about because
fantastic.
it's all the money goes back into New York theater and charities.
That's great.
The other thing I just wanted to say, an organization that I love and work with, there's three big ones. There's Oceana,
Yeah.
Planned Parenthood, and Operation Smile. And
I
Op
love
Smile
Oceana.
is,
I love them. I support them as well.
oh, it's incredible what they do. They're
Yeah.
incredible. So, but Operation Smile, my good friend Robin Elfane, who runs it largely, when she found out Derek, my assistant, was in the hospital for so long, he was there for 26, 27 days. And we were doing all the meal things. We were sending meals to the nurses and doctors and healthcare workers there because things were so dire that they weren't able to eat, like they weren't getting
Right.
proper meals and coffee and whatever. So they have this program, Operation Smile, they're doing this week, the 20th through the 24th at noon. They're delivering meals, and these are students all over New York hospitals. So
Oh,
student
wow.
volunteers in Operation Smile, they're going to deliver food to Centara Lee Hospital, Norfolk General Hospital, Centara Obiki, I don't know how to say
Okay.
that hospital, Centara Bell Harbor Hospital. So all over New York and Lenox Hill, which is where Derek was in
Mm-hmm.
Manhattan, and Mount Sinai Elmhurst Hospital in
Mm.
Queens. So It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. And it's called, what is it? Serving Smiles. Serving Smiles. But it
I love
is.
it.
It's food.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're interested, if
Food
people
makes
are
me
interested in
smile all the time.
donating to, if they're interested in donating to that, they can go to
Okay.
Operation Smile, and like they'll and you can whatever, but
Great.
not just know that that's happening. It's an incredible organization. For people who don't know, Operation Smile takes care of children and young adults all over the world, babies who are born with cleft palates or lips, and I've gone on missions with them. It's an incredible organization. They for $240 you basically save a kid's life. So it's
That's great.
amazing.
That's amazing.
They
Send me, I'm going to have you send me the information because I'm also, when I do a little clip kind of all of this and put this later onto
yeah,
YouTube so people can
yeah,
watch it again, I'll put all that
yeah.
information in there as well so people can just like
Okay.
click and get to it. That's
Yeah,
so
sounds
cool.
good.
That's really wonderful. So in the sort of theater line a little bit as well, but more kind of a fun kind of a question. I had a great question from, her name is Anna Dooley, and she's an opera fan, but she's asked before, if you had to be quarantined with three of the characters that you've played in your career, right? Who would you pick?
Well, definitely Addison.
Right?
I mean, come on.
I mean, come
If
on.
nothing else, I mean, if there's a guy in there, she's definitely going to hook up with him. But so be careful. She can't be trusted. No. Let's see, Addison. I don't know. It can't be Mrs. Baker. She's bitter and grieving. So grieving. We can't have Hannah Baker's mom,
No.
Olivia. That's too much. Maybe the handler.
Okay.
Because if there's a way out of a quarantine, the handler will figure it out. If nothing else, it'd be amusing. That's a character from the Umbrella Academy. And then maybe, I don't know, was it Rebecca Wright? I don't remember my character's last name, from Bad Judge. She'd be amusing. She'd definitely be a party girl. So
Right. You kind of like, exactly, like you pick the characters, like somebody who could help, right? Somebody who's going to entertain you, and then maybe somebody that can, like, I don't know, cover a couple different bases.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know, that's funny. Right? I thought that was a really funny question, thinking about
That
opera
is
characters, and I'm like, no, they're all too dramatic. I don't want any of them in my home.
I mean, right? You're like, easy.
Right? Like, no thanks,
Yeah.
no thanks, no thanks. Oh my gosh. Okay, so go back to South America now. So as we said, like, my family is from Buenos Aires. So tell me, what's the love?
Well, as you know, I went, was it, in February? I can't remember now.
I remember seeing pictures. I was like, are you in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, so I was going on my Nat Geo Antarctica expedition, and I took my friend, Sarah Link, and we had the most amazing time, but we board out of, we set sail out of Ushuaia, which is the southernmost city in Argentina. So what you do is they fly you from New York to Buenos Aires, and we went like 5 days early so we could tour around, and it was the height of Buenos Aires summer, so it was sweltering and sweaty and sexy, but we did so many fun things. We went to this famous drum show. I can't remember the name of it, but it's outside, and it's this drum group. Now I'm embarrassed because I don't remember the name, but we just loved it. We walked everywhere, and just, what do we have? The little, the sausage sandwiches too. What are they called?
Oh, like choripan, or like.
Yeah, it was like, I think it's choripan. It was like the most delicious. And I mean,
So
we were
good.
carnivores. I mean, you have to kind of, you don't have to be. I'm sure there's a lot of proud vegans in Buenos Aires, but we were not. We were fully into the carnivorous. Met a couple of friends down there, and had and then we went to go see tango. I had this whole idea that I was going to do tango, and then
why not?
I learned a little or something, and then I went to a little club. Like, my friends that lived there took us to a little club, a local club that were on like a Tuesday night or something random. And it was so beautiful, and it was so exact and so perfect that I was like, there's no way. And I'm a good faker. And I'm a pretty good dancer. But I was like, there's no way I'm going to go do this. Like, I'm just going to enjoy the art. But it was stunning. I just loved that city. I loved it. I love the wide avenues. I love the people. I love all the different neighborhoods. I love La Boca. I love, a couple of the other neighborhoods that I can't remember where I was staying in, because now I'm in Western Australia. Here I am. And
I mean, I'm always
Perth.
impressed whenever I see things you're doing. You're like on some other part of the world. And I'm always like, where are you now?
I mean,
what are you doing? Actually, the last time we saw each other was by complete accident, and it was at New York. We were both seeing the same play. And that was the last, and that was by total accident. And then like the next day I was like, hey, let's grab coffee. And you're like, I'm on the moon. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm always traveling. Well, I do love traveling. It's like what I work basically to travel. I do. I'm like, I have this existential, I've always loved it. We're a bunch of gypsies. Our whole family, my brothers and sisters, we all have traveled like extensively. And I don't know where we got it from. My mother, we used to go, I mean, we didn't have any money growing up. It's not like we were cosmopolitan and traveling as kids, but we camped and did road trips and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we've all worked and lived all over the world. Like, it's just sort of our thing. And so so now I'm here. I've been to Sydney before to do press like years ago, literally like in 2008 for private practice. But now I'm in Western Australia, and I was like touring around and going to Margaret River and down, and it's so stunning here. It's so pristine that no one should ever come here because we don't want it.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Don't come.
Yeah. Let me just send you pictures.
It's like no other place on the planet. Don't
come. I know.
I was literally swimming in the ocean. And I have my little goggles on, and there people are swimming laps, and this really sweet older man named Gary. I'm not going to try to do my accent and like embarrass myself. But he was like, isn't it beautiful? He's like, don't tell anyone.
Right.
I was like, yes, agreed, Gary, agreed.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. Meanwhile, you're like, picture. Right. It's like, not going to tell you where though, so I don't want you to come and join me, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful. I love seeing your pictures. I love it. I was enthralled with the whole National Geographic trip that you did. I was just
the Lindblad trip. That was crazy, right?
I mean, that was really incredible.
It's incredible. It's incredible it's mind blowing. It's like nothing I've ever experienced in my life to be in Antarctica. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do the Arctic and Antarctic with Lindblad on their, they have small ships. So it's 148 passengers, and it's all zero carbon. They have a commitment. Lindblad is an incredible company actually. And they have a commitment to zero out all of their trips. And then they offer programs. It's actually something I was getting really into and will continue to do, to talk about zeroing out carbon when we do travel again, and just easy things that we can do once we're through, the trauma of isolation, cocooning, from this pandemic that, I think we're all seeing. Isn't it incredible that we're seeing how quickly the world recovers, like the ecosystem? I mean, I don't know about you, but the birds are going nuts here, and like, right? And
they're amazing over here. Yeah, and even in New York, even though we still have a lot of light pollution, I can tell that there are a few stars at night that are just so bright. Like the ones that you would see with a lot of help in New York, like I don't know if it's, I don't know what they are. What is it, North Star or Venus, or the ones that are really bright in general?
Yeah.
But those ones now, I feel like because even of the less pollution that there is, I can see them out my window. I mean, we're talking like diamond bright stars. It's amazing.
Incredible, isn't it?
It's incredible, and the birds are going bananas.
And I hear it from my friends in LA too, and so it's really, anyway, it's very interesting and very gratifying. It's one of the glass half full things about this whole pandemic, is just to see how quickly our planet can recover from just like even a little bit of of like changing our lifestyle. Like for just a week, I just think
Yeah,
it's kind of incredible, particularly for my friends in LA where it's just the air quality can be so bad and pollution
it
so
can
bad.
be so
But
bad.
anyway, I'm
Mhm.
the net like what so I'm looking forward to getting more into that and talking about sustainability and
Mhm.
ways that we regular folks can just change their lifestyle. Like I know in New York,
Right.
even I have friends that are they're like vegan or vegetarian for 6 days and then they have meat one day if they're meat eaters. I know
Right.
like they're doing composting. So like if you
Yep.
compost at home and put it in your freezer in your
Mhm.
our little New York apartments, you can take it to different parks, have compost bins, and then they
Mhm.
sort it out for you. So it's really, there's lots of
Yeah.
ways, and I think we'll see more and more of that. This is because
It's
this
great
is
too.
real. Yeah.
Also, the more, I mean, so like we do that in our building. We have a compost. So we have a small kitchen, but we have a little trash can that we have one side is like trash, like actual things that cannot be recycled and have to go in the
Yeah.
trash. And the other side is our compost. And then we have like another bag somewhere where we put all of our recycling. And our building has basically like a trash bin outside that is dedicated. It's a specific bin and it's dedicated to the compost. And it's interesting because the more you do it and the better you get at it, first of all, it's easier, right? It's not so scary because it is a little odd at first when you're trying to remember where does this go and which is this recyclable? Is it not recyclable? But when you get better at it, you really start to see how much you use and how much you throw out, and also
Dude, I mean,
how much is
I've
not
been
recyclable, right?
I've been painfully aware of since I moved back to New York. I moved back from LA, in 2017, and I'm like, it's nothing's more evident of how much you're like, wow, I produce a lot of trash. You're like, this
It's
is
incredible.
crazy. Like you just see it. You're in your kitchen, you're like, and this is my garbage or mine and Derek's
Hmm.
or and
Right.
you're like, ah, so yeah, it is very interesting, and particularly in a city like New York, which is designed to be out and people eat out and people are doing takeaway food and eating lunch as they're walking down the street and to go, to go, to go. So to really start making these changes, and they're just habits. And I remember, geez, I remember in the 90s or late when recycling started happening, I was like, what?
Hmm.
You want me to separate my garbage? Like, I can't even
Right.
pay my rent. I was like working 3 waitressing jobs and like, I was like, huh? Like that will never happen.
Right.
Impossible. And then
Right.
here we are. It's happening. And
Right.
so it's just
And here,
learning new
yeah.
habits. Learning new
And now
habits.
now we're basically assaulting people in the street if they don't have a metal straw.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you using single-use plastic? But you know what? It starts from both ways. It's something that we talked about when I was doing the town hall with Bill Nye and secretaries at Kerry and
Mm,
Moniz the other day for climate change and COVID. You
hmm.
have to start from the top and the bottom. The
Right.
bottom meaning us, our civilians, our everyday living, but also
Right.
in companies and governments. So when you have someplace like Lindblad and Nat Geo that are committing to no single-use plastics on board their ships, to
Right.
zeroing out their carbon footprint for whatever travel they do, it's
Right.
impressive. So we just have to move in that direction. If we want to survive as a species.
Right. It's
So
just
yeah, it's
that
just
little
that thing.
thing, you know,
Yeah,
all of our children and our grandchildren and,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's nothing though. It's really nothing. Oh God, I know. Okay. So the last two things I want to ask you about, I always love talking about food because I'm a big foodie. And then the other thing I wanted to ask
Hold
you
on.
quickly
If you
about,
just tuned in, guys, because we
oh,
only have 10 minutes left, someone
yep.
said, wait, who is Isabel Leonard? I'm like,
Oh,
Isabel Leonard is an amazing opera singer in New York City. She sings with the Met. She does lots of other things, but that's one of the things that she does. She's incredible. I saw her in the Carmelites, and she's not only beautiful on the outside and the inside, she's just an incredible performer
oh
and
my God.
new friend. And I'm excited to shine a light on you a little. So anyway, that's if you're just tuning
Oh,
in. All right. And like, sorry about
thanks.
look at all let's just take a second. Look at, there's gray. If you're like, people are like, we like you as a redhead better. You're like, guess what?
We're like, guess
This
what? We
is
don't
the
have a
real
choice
hair
anymore.
color right there. That's it. It's like, I'd say a medium to
Oh,
dark mouse, but a cute mouse, a very nice mouse, like a Stuart Little, not like a New
it's the
York
big.
rat. By the way, I heard the rats are out. They're like, where is all the garbage, guys? The rats are like, hey, New York, time out. We're here.
Yeah.
So
They
like,
can't exactly eat all of the like neoprene gloves that have been thrown on the ground, probably. Ugh.
anyway, all right. Sorry. Go ahead. Ask me something because
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
I
no,
keep
no,
interrupting.
no. No, I love it. I love it. You're the best. Um, so okay, so one was about food. We'll get to that at the very, very end. The last thing I want you to plug is your perfume. Because
Oh
now
yeah,
I haven't,
boyfriend.
okay, I'm embarrassed because I haven't smelled any of it yet.
We
I
gotta get
haven't
it to
smelled
you.
it.
We're gonna get
I
it to
haven't smelled
you.
it. But so tell me in your best operatic way. No, you don't have to sing. Tell me in your best operatic way, like what it smells like.
Oh, it's so delicious. It's delicious. It's like I would say it's like very edible in the sense that,
That's
I made
dangerous.
this. It's I know. It's like don't eat it. You're
Right.
gonna want it. It's like you spray it on so because the top note is actually juicy plum and night blooming
Mm.
jasmine. So I don't know about you. When I was little, actually my friend was teasing me the other day that because I'm like, oh, can I eat that? I'm always like, can I eat it? And I got whatever. I ate a flower. I remember eating a lily when I was little. My mouth swelled up because when it smells good, you're like,
Oh,
oh, it probably tastes good too. So we should probably eat it. Don't eat the perfume or the body cream.
right,
Don't eat any of it. But
right.
it's delicious. So it's like night blooming jasmine and juicy plum is the top note, and then it has middle notes of like a tears of benzoin, which is basically fancy vanilla, like a really
Oh,
nice vanilla. It has a little bit of patchouli, but not like so much where you feel like you're at the Grateful Dead, um, or Fish for you younger fans, or any outdoor concert. But no, and then it has sandalwood,
hmm
a little bit of amber, so it's like warm
mm,
and nuzzly. So it goes. It's
nice.
got a little bit of the florals, but also this very warm, nuzzly. I'm probably forgetting and musk, but it's vegan musk, so it's clean, it's green, um,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's delightful. So we just celebrated 2 years since our relaunch, so we're in
Hmm.
the terrible twos. Uh, he's saying no a lot. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
We're
I know
very,
that
very,
stage.
it's his boyfriend. And it's incredible. And we're really blessed because people, during this, first of all, my business partner, Luigi Picarazzi, who's my partner in this, and his delightful crew he has a company called Digital Media Management who runs all my social platforms.
Hmm.
But Melody Darlene Hernandez runs Boyfriend and our Boyfriend team. They are killing it, and they've been able to continue to package and mail stuff out during this pandemic, and we weren't sure if that was going to happen, but legally they were like it's considered a necessary business or it's safe, so once a week they'd go in hazmat suits and make sure that they could package and clean and safely deliver and mail out. And our fans have been so loyal, and we so
That's great.
appreciate it in a time where you really are thinking, how do you want to spend your money if you're spending it at all, and people are struggling and not working and not knowing when they're going to go back. So we've been very, very lucky, and we're thrilled to be celebrating 2 years, and yeah, it's going really well. So
That's exciting. I've always thought that I always love those things. I think it's super interesting and stuff I know nothing about. And it's super, super exciting. I can't wait to
yeah,
smell it, but I will not
yeah,
eat
we'll
it.
get you some. Yes,
I
don't
will
eat
not
it,
eat
but
it.
it's delicious. It's really, yeah, yeah.
So speaking of delicious things then, like what are you eating? What are you cooking right now? What's your go-to quarantine snack or everything?
Well,
Because right now
always
I feel like,
chocolate,
yes.
chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. I'm on a streak. The other night for like because I was really obsessively cooking, and I still am, but then I got tired of it. We didn't have yeast for a long time, couldn't get yeast. There was no
Uh-huh.
sourdough starter because everyone's baking bread. There was no flour, and now I'm like, oh,
Right.
now I have it. So I have a brick of yeast. It looks like I could go sell it, like go sell, little baggies of yeast for, if you're looking for yeast, come to
Amazing.
WA. I'll hook you up. So
Amazing.
I'll probably get into some bread, but the other night, I got so sick of cooking for one, too. I was just like, I'm freezing a lot of stuff. But it was one of those things where you're like, I had like pesto. I'd made homemade pesto. So I had pesto, crackers, cheese, chia pudding, wine, and chocolate for dinner. I was like,
That
you know what?
sounds amazing. That sounds like my dinner all the time.
I'm like, whoa, next level. Somebody's like, it's like the kid's in charge.
Right.
It's like, you know what? Maybe just consider a vegetable. I guess pesto is a vegetable.
But you get the veggie in there. They're all blended up,
Got it.
it counts. It
Yeah.
totally
But you know
counts.
that thing? You have moments of total insanity. You're like, F
Yeah.
it. I'm going to
Oh,
have
yeah.
chocolate for dinner and
Yeah.
wine. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. See, I knew there was something there. No, I'm a huge chocolate fan.
No, but I've been
I
cooking a
love
lot. I'm into it.
I love, yeah.
Um,
I think for me it's very therapeutic. I love cooking. I just
Me
made a
too.
really lovely like butternut squash soup the other night with cumin and a
Ooh.
little bit of chili. Like really super yummy, but and super vegan, right? Even though I'm not a vegan, but for all those who
Right.
are, right? It's super
Yeah.
delicious, lots of flavor and really easy to make. So easy.
Yeah. Yum, yum. I know I've been doing like hummus. Oh, I
Mhm.
forgot to package that. I mean, guacamole. Still into I'm
Mhm.
like doing all these dips basically. And then yeah, I have this raw broccoli salad that I love to make from the New York
Oh,
Times. It's so good. That's I know they just all happen to be vegan. But that's not intentional. But
I'm going to
yeah,
ask you for that one later because I'm not a
yeah.
big fan of raw broccoli, but if in a salad I feel like I could go for it.
Well, how it does, it's not totally raw. It's like you use a salt and vinegar to cure it, and then you put
Ah, okay.
cumin and oil, and it's very easy. It's very, very
Ooh.
easy, and it's so good. Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds delicious. I am
So
in love
that's
with
what I'm doing.
what's it called? Do you know the brand Who chocolates? Do you know
Oh
this
yeah,
brand?
uh-huh.
I love them. They're kind of like my thing right now. I just love all their chocolates and they have these like chocolate covered cashews and these chocolate covered almonds and
Oh,
uh,
I
it's all this.
know.
I'm
You
such a
got to get
chocolate.
those endorphins somehow. But I've been
Yeah.
dancing every day too. I mean,
You
that's
do
what I kind of
you do the ballet
well, I do
stuff, right?
ballet. I do ballet
Hmm.
beautiful, and I do yoga. But what I mean just dancing around my house.
Oh, I love it. Perfect.
Like I'm like, guess what? It's time to dance. Like put on LCD sound system or whatever and just go. I feel like it's important to sing and dance whatever we can to keep our little selves happy and buoyant and joyful. You know what I mean? During this time. And then,
Yeah.
cry alternately. That's something else.
When the song stops,
What is
just
happening to the
cry.
world?
When the song,
Yeah,
it's
when
funny
all
when
else
my
fails,
son was
definitely let yourself cry.
when my son was really little, that reminded me that I used to like if I would practice at home or something and I would sing like ah right and he would look at me and he would go and then I would go ee or whatever and he would get sad or it was the opposite way around. Maybe it was the e that it was the opposite way around. I would go like ee because my face was all like this ee and
Yeah.
he would smile and kind of coo and giggle and then I'd go ah like that and he would go
Oh,
and then I realized, of course, technically that was wrong too. I had to like keep my face in the nice position to sing, ah. But it would like break my heart
amazing.
because I was like, what is he responding to? Something in my face, something so primal because he was like 5 months old.
Isn't
It
that
was,
funny? Wow,
yeah,
that's amazing.
crazy. But so yes, laugh and cry alternatively in between your songs that you dance to, I think is a perfect remedy for everything, actually.
Yeah, and I think also, are you able in New York to get out and take a walk? Or do you wear a mask and
So we wear a mask. I don't go out. So my mom's 78, right?
okay.
And my son is 10 and I have exercise induced asthma. I don't necessarily think I'm
Okay.
at risk, but I just don't know. And so I feel, as
Right.
the strongest person in this family, the one that takes care of everybody, I feel like it's my
Yeah.
responsibility just to be super
Yeah,
careful.
for sure.
So I
Yeah.
stay inside and, gain a few pounds every week and but it's all good. It's all good. I cannot thank
That's
you enough
honey,
for
what a delight.
talking to
I
me.
I hope and thank you for everybody who tuned in. And
Yeah.
I know, let's see, what but yeah, we love you deeply and madly, and I'm sending everybody love and strength and comfort. And this is a crazy time, but I really I appreciate you making the time. And what a delight to see your face, Isabel, and talk to you.
Likewise, you look fantastic. Oh, and the last thing before I forget, there were a few people that wanted to have some shout outs. So Julia Cardozo says, can you send some love to Brazil? That's the
Yes,
first
I
one.
I feel like I've been remiss because I keep saying Brazil, 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 and I'm sending besos, and I'm also seeing the flag, and I'm like, I want to come back there so
All the
badly when
besos.
we're allowed to travel again. I love Brazil. I love Sao Paulo. I went to Buzios. I love Rio, of course, and I look forward to coming back, and I'm sending you so much love because you guys are like the best fans. Like, you just are so loyal and delightful, and thank you so much for all the love and support over the
Oh,
years.
I love
Yeah.
that. So the last thing I'm going to say, and I second this, this is from Random Girl with Dreams. She says, "Thank you for inspiring me and for being my role model and to keep doing what you're doing, basically because you're fabulous." And I
Uh,
second that. I think that sums everything up. Thank you again
Thank
so
you.
much. I can't wait
Thanks
to
for
see you in
dealing
New
with
York,
me with my
hopefully.
beach hag hair and my robe.
You look awesome. You look like a doll.
Thank you. Thanks. All
Ah,
right,
sending you
great.
so much love. Stay safe, please.
Okay, you too,
All
honey.
right.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great evening.